Hi. So, in your recovery process, I want to talk about, in this short video, something that's called a baseline. What is a baseline? Very simply, it's the mental and emotional state you need to maintain, not to slip up, not to relapse. Okay? Most men during the recovery, it's kind of like that pendulum or like the ping pong, back and forth. They go wildly from one end of the spectrum of recovery all the way to the other opposite extreme end of the pendulum in terms of relapsing. Up and down, right? The baseline, this is what we're discussing here. The baseline is your mental and your emotional state needed to maintain your recovery. So, a good accountability partner helps you. So does a good mentor, a good accountability a coach, or in my case, for example, actually a porn recovery coaching, mentoring, which is what I do. These people will be very helpful to you, be very beneficial to you in your recovery process. It makes your recovery, and in particular, that first, let's say maybe 90 days, your reboot actually, very predictive. Right? You can predict what happens. I've made some videos already in which I discuss, a 30-day challenge and how in those 30 days, there's certain days where it's kind of predictable, the opportunity, the negative opportunity of a relapse. Your reboot, though, to be successful, has to become predictive. The same thing in terms of your recovery, right? You gain the skill of prediction, then your control of your recovery becomes possible. I'm going to say that again because it's important. It's a very important concept for us to hear, to recognize, and to accept. When you gain the skill of prediction, then control becomes possible. Okay? So how do we create that baseline? How do we regulate and maintain our positive recovery progress? Okay, there's about 5 areas where I would say we can really focus and regulate and maintain. Right, 5. The first is reviewing your progress weekly. First is reviewing your progress weekly. Second is having a morning routine, a recovery, right? Each day. Third would be to, at the end of the month, you're going to review. And you're going to make a list of the mistakes, not maybe necessarily the relapses, but just the errors that you made. What did you learn from them? So making a list of the errors, and then also next to that, making a list of the lessons that were to be learned. And here's the fun thing, actually, you rate your overall happiness. Rate your overall happiness scale, like 1 to 10, 1 to 5. And based on that, then you also have like a weekly review of these old exercises, perhaps of the journaling that you have been doing. You're able to then track. You're able to see that pattern. You're able to actually create your baseline. Because how many of you, and I'll just give you a very quick example, how many of you know that if you go to a particular location, it's a danger zone, that when you go there, the likelihood that you will be triggered is high. Or if you go to a particular store or in a neighborhood which has potential places for you to act out. Well, if you go there, you know that you're going to be challenged, right? You know this already about yourself. So by sharing this with others, with an accountability partner, with a mentor, with a coach such as myself, you'll be able to not only track that pattern, but also come up with some positive strategies of how to avoid it. And then by avoiding it, as you track it by the week, and you track it by the month, and by the months, your recovery is going to become more and more and more predictable. And with that predictability becomes then more and more ability, more and more opportunities, more and more chances for you to be in control. All right? So, how do you regulate? How do you maintain during really it's the first year of your recovery? After you've got past those 90 days, kind of 90 days isn't exactly that cutoff for that reboot, but I just would say 90 days. Okay, so how do we maintain? How do we regulate the recovery? It's by creating a baseline again. And what is a baseline? It's just simply that this baseline simply is you being able to measure what your emotional and your mental state is, and you're able to do this through basically 5 ways, right? Reviewing your weekly progress, having a morning routine, reviewing each month the mistakes, but also the lessons learned, rating your happiness, your overall happiness, and then doing like a weekly review over these old exercises. Okay? So in doing this, you are allowing yourself, you're setting yourself up for success by creating that baseline and making your recovery predictable, and through predictability, controllable. I hope this is some little bits of gold nuggets for you. I hope to be working with you. I wish you a good rest of your day. And remember, your tomorrow, your best tomorrow, starts today. Blessings.